Welcome, listeners, back to Podcast X. My name is Alex, one of the co-hosts of this podcast, and you are joining us on our third episode titled Geographers Talking Geography. Because everyone on the panel is, of course, a geographer, including John himself, who is the other co-host. So if I'll get them to introduce themselves, there's a panel starting with John.
Hi, good afternoon. Good evening. My name is John William. Yes, Alex is right. I am a geographer. I studied geography alongside my two co-hosts today for 3 years. Had a blast. I had some terrible moments as well. And we are going to try to make geography interesting for you today.
Yep, that's great. Tony Ann?
Hi guys, back at it again with geography. I'm currently studying geography at the moment, so I'm ready to give my insight on current uni student in this global pandemic, but just as a whole, being a geography student in general.
Awesome, and I am, of course, Alex, also a geographer. Graduated last year with John. Okay, so I think this is an interesting topic to talk about because I don't think we've actually had a conversation before about geography as a subject. I mean, sure, we've talked about geographical issues a lot and our university experiences, but not necessarily the subject specifically. So it'll be very interesting to hear perspectives today. So my first question to you guys, I suppose, is about your ideas as a geographer. How does geography play a part in your identity? So would you say you became a geographer from the moment you picked it at GCSE, or did you pick GCSE because you were always a geographer at heart?
Up to you. You want to go first, Tony Ann?
Well, geography for me is one of those funny stories because basically, like, I always like geography. You always get this misconception that geography is all about like colouring in and like looking at where the countries are and stuff like that. But I felt like once I did it in sixth form, like I enjoyed it more, but I still didn't think that I would have taken that as a degree option. Like I had so many different options I wanted to do. I want to be a lawyer, I wanted to be this, and I wanted to be that. And then my RS teacher was like, I don't think law is for you because it requires a lot of reading. So I was like, oh, okay, might as well like take geography because it's it's what I'm good at it. And it was just like a not quick thing to go to uni, but like I needed to do something, if you know what I mean. So I took geography, and then as I progressed through my university experience, like I started to really enjoy it a lot more and started to realize like, like it's not just about learning about soil and that, it's about a lot more than, the typical stuff that people tell you that geography is about.
Yeah, exactly, 100%.
I 100% agree with that final point that geography is not just about soil or maps. My backstory on geography is kind of like a movie. So I went to the same high school as Tony Ann, but I went back in 2009. And when I was in my first year of high school, I had this geography tutor. We have personal tutors, and I had a geography personal tutor. Now, he was busy with his year 11s, year 12s, and year 13s. So at the time, I didn't get to know him. But in year 8, which is the second year of high school, I really started to click with geography because I didn't really care about like where stuff is, like the map, like where is Egypt, where is China, etc. I didn't care about that type of stuff. That type of stuff is rarely ever going to change. I liked learning about people's interactions with the natural environment as well as the physical environment, as well as things that you can't see but processes that are happening even right now. And when I started to click, my tutor started to notice it. And what's the half term before? It's this half term, the half term that children are on right now. What would this half term be called? Winter?
Easter, I think.
No, the one right now. The one right now. I think it's spring half term or something like this. It's all right. It's either spring half term or Easter half term. I was a bad kid, so I was on report. But my geography tutor was like, you have real potential in geography. If you knuckle down, you'll be amazing at geography. Believe me, you have an eye for this." So I was like, "All right, cool." Um, a week later, we came back and I found out my geography tutor died.
Oh,
No.
Yeah, no, honestly, this sounds like such a movie, but it happened, and
okay.
I was like, what the hell, man? What now? He's the one who inspired me to do geography. What now? Because I
Okay.
liked history. I prefer history over geography, but it was my tutor who inspired me. So I was like, what the hell now?
Hmm.
Um, but then when I found out his legacy through his older students and how like he was really good at teaching, and he left a lot of books behind, and he was one of those very old-fashioned tutors that love to use blackboards instead of smartboards. He just his style, his notes that he left behind and everything, I was reading them and I was like, yo, this is fire, man. This is fire. I liked history because history's fun, but then like geography was like a whole new subject. And then since then,
Mm.
I just love geography. I took it for everything. I got A stars in GCSE, I got B in A level, but we're not gonna talk about that because I don't really care about A level. Um, but then, see, funny thing is, along the way, I kind of lost my passion because geography was never my first choice for uni.
Mhm.
Um, Geography was my last choice. Actually, I was meant to do Japanese, but then some complications happened. I had to come home, and then I was meant to do nursing, the Filipino style,
Oh, is
but
that
then
right?
but then some complications arose, so I was forced to pick a final topic, and people are gonna hate me for this, but my mom, I told my mom, what if I do psychology? Mom was like, you want to waste your money and not have a job in the future? so I was like, all right, okay, cool. What about geography? She's like, yeah, okay, cool. I can respect that, and I do a lot of
Mhm.
things based on what my mom thinks about me, because ultimately your mom is one of the real ones, at least in most cases. So my mom was a real one, and she said, I think you'd do well in geography. So that's why I do geography. That's why I love geography. Um, I concised it a bit too much, but yeah, that's my backstory.
What about
I
you,
know.
Alex?
Yeah, well, firstly, exactly. I'm so glad I asked this question because I don't think it's a good getting to know exercise. I think that question because I don't think I've heard these stories from you guys before in the past. So
Imagine
Mhm.
4 years and you've never heard these
yeah,
You
stories.
know
that's what I mean. So that's why I think it's really important to ask this question. So yeah, so for me then, I think for me, geography was always about an awakening. I think for me, which started with religion. So I grew up in Catholic schools throughout my entire life, and at some point I began to really question religion. So I started listening to philosophical debates. But as you know, religion can be quite a political thing as well. So I equally was exposed to political debates, which then got
Mhm.
me paying attention to the geographies of religion, which exposed me to
Mm,
other issues, which eventually, I was exposed to so many socio-political issues regarding so many different countries that I started to really form passionate opinions on these countries and those issues as well. And then my interest in the world just sort of become part of my identity. So I think that's how it's sort of started. Um, yeah. Okay.
Oh, could I
So
make a point?
go on.
Like, don't you not think like the reasons that we gave about why we decided to study geography? Don't you not think it's like quite we want to know how things work and the inner workings of what's going on around us. Like even before we chose geography, like I feel like we enjoyed sort of with history, like it
Hmm.
deals with the past and how, because John was like he likes history as well, and that deals with the past and how things works back then and whatnot and whatnot. And I took history as A level as well because I liked how things were working out. And you said, Alex, you said about looking at geographical religion and stuff like that
Hmm.
and all the things that work throughout history. Like I feel as if like both geography and history and how things work within this world like interact together, and that's what sprung about our passion to sort of study geography at the end of the day. You know what I mean? I don't
yeah.
know whether that's my
100%.
thought process or not, but
No, I can definitely see that, and I definitely agree with that. For my upbringing as well. Something also about me is that when I was young, I didn't watch cartoons. Like apart from The Simpsons, I didn't watch cartoons. I watched a lot of documentaries, right? And
Okay.
there's like I was hooked on Roman history and Henry VIII, and something that they had in common was if you know history, um you know the past and you can potentially know the future.
Mhm.
But then obviously, in the applying that to the modern day, knowing history doesn't mean you know the past. But for me, I feel like geography and history complement each other so well. History
Mhm.
is knowing the past, and geography is sometimes knowing the future. So
Mhm.
I always paired those up, and there was a thing back in the day. The English baccalaureate. I don't know if I said that right. It was something like do a humanities, do a language, and do science. And
Mhm.
it was only a requirement to do one humanity. And I always said to myself, "There's no chance I'm only doing one because history and geography, both amazing."
Definitely.
Um, this is a geography podcast, but if I'm being really honest, history edged it out for me, and
Mhm.
it even edges it out today. But geography is like close second, very very close second for me.
Mhm.
It's very interesting hearing that from a geography graduate.
Should have took history.
Yeah, no, but I think you guys those are very good points. Actually, geography is so much more. I mean, John, you've seen my post on Facebook a couple of days ago, which was what sparked this interest
Yeah,
into making this podcast. Which was, I saw a sort of, I was watching a YouTube video regarding geography teaching geography, and one of the comments below said, when someone asked me why I chose geography, I replied to them, what other subject incorporates history, economics, biology, chemistry, environmental science, geology, all that sort of stuff together. It's geography, right? So you get to really understand multiple different disciplines in one go.
yeah.
So I
I've
think that's
just
very
put it
cool.
in the chat if you want to read it, Ash, later or now. It's up to you. But
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
no, bruh, geography is so much more than what we have like our preconceptions of. Like, I think before high school, because primary school I didn't do much geography.
Mhm.
I thought geography was just maps. Cartography was
All right. Yeah.
was a large part of it. My cousins in Spain thought geography was a lot about climate, um, earthquakes, tsunamis and all that stuff. But when you get down to it, like geography is so vast, it's so deep, and
Yeah.
it's so wide that it's easily one of the more interesting subjects in high school, that should be taught more and should have more like fun in it.
And it's a
Like,
shame.
go ahead, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, like, it's a shame, like, what you're coming from. Like, it's really, as you said, like, it's so much more than just, like, I'm looking at a map and you tell me where the countries are. Like, even my brother now, like, he's in year 6 and he hates geography for some reason. And
Same,
I'm
my
like,
sister as well.
yeah, like
Mm,
every kid that I listen to that is studying geography, like they hate it in school. And I'm just like, I always loved it for the fact that, like, not because I was good at it, but because, like, I, well, maybe because of the teachers that I had and how they taught me. But yeah, I really do feel as if, like, the system needs to sort of change in how they portray geography to be, because it's not just physical geography and human geography. Like, they're both very much intertwined with one another. As you said, climate change, for example, is not just physical, it's also related to human as well, like
yeah,
how we impact the world. So I feel as if, like, geography is not given its props with how it is. Like, it's not it's not giving us props like, oh, you're being a lawyer, you're being a business person, or whatever the case, or a doctor. But, like, we will use geography daily, every single day of our life. So
yeah,
you
100,
know
100%. What you said about it's not giving its props, I 100% agree. It's like geography is not. It's not one of those clout subjects. It's not
Mhm.
the one. It's not the one that's like that gets all the
The
yeah.
girl them.
They get. I was gonna say that.
Okay.
Yeah. Like a law, like a woman or a man or a trans person. They go, I'm a doctor, in it. Yeah, I'm a doctor in medicine. Immediately, that guy, that person is getting their recognition. They're like, oh my god, you must have done a hard subject, incredible. Or if someone says, oh, I did chemistry, I did nursing, immediately they're like, oh wow, you must have been through so much trouble. But then when you say, I'm a geography graduate, Okay, cool. You can tell me the weather. You can tell me how tectonic plates move. How does that affect me? Listen, yeah, we are the reason why there are no Taco Bells in the UK. We are the reason why there are no in and outs in the UK. We can tell you why. We can let you know what we can do. Shit, you know that traffic out on the road? Yeah, we can fix that, but no one listens to us. So I definitely agree. Geography is one of those subjects that really just doesn't get a lot of like
Hmm.
glamour, which is a shame. Which is a shame. It really should get more glamour.
No, definitely. I think that I want to sort of illustrate to our non-geographer listeners how diverse geography actually is, as you guys explained. So, um, our dissertations, then,
Oh, here we go.
our most important pieces of work. Well, one of our most important pieces of work. If a non-geographer person was to look at your dissertations, guys, would they instinctively say, "Yeah, this is definitely a geography paper," or not? Um, so for example, my title on my dissertation. So I'll let you guys just quickly find your own titles before I move on to you guys.
Hey, give me
So
a second.
yeah, exactly. So I'll talk about mine quickly then. So my title was UK Crime Wave 2018, analyzing spatial temporal patterns of news frames regarding weapons-related crime. That's quite a wordy title, but what that basically does is it uses. I basically read through 200 different pieces of articles. No, it was 300 pieces of written articles, and then sort of scoring each of them through. So I had to go through 20 questions, which I had to answer yes or no, and then I analyzed how those answers would would sort of portray knife crime to its readers, and how people's perceptions of certain places would change as a result of how news articles talk about them. Okay, actually, I think then that you could. There's definitely hints of geography there, but this was actually more to do with media, right? I was analyzing media and how media was portraying places. So I guess you could say that could be classically geography, but media as well. So that's what I mean. There's this massive relationship between geography and other subjects like media, because actually the specific type of geography that I was involved with in my dissertation is called communications geography. I
Okay.
mean,
Okay.
I
Okay.
never heard of communications geography in my life before until I actually started this dissertation. So geography is just honestly so diverse. More than just physical and human geography. There's a bunch of other geographies out there. Don't know about you guys.
No,
Well,
because
I'll
oh,
let
go
Ashley
ahead.
go. I'll let
No,
Ashley
go
go
ahead.
first because if I go second, and then we go back to you, I'm gonna look like a jerk. So I'm
It's alright.
I'm gonna let you go first. So then I'm the comedic relief after this. Because trust me, yours sounds like geography. And if listeners were paying attention, Ash Tony Ann's
You already said my name,
dissertation.
John.
Did I? Okay.
Dash.
Okay.
Anyway, it
Listen,
doesn't matter.
Tony Ann's dissertation made sense in the geography realm. But if you listen to mine, you're gonna be like, "That's not geography, my friend." So I'll let you go first, Tony.
No, but the thing is, like, in term, are we rating like whose one sounds more geographically
No,
accurate, or
I
what's?
just want our viewers to sort of understand how diverse geography
Yeah.
is, and that we
Oh,
sort of
okay.
relate with other subjects.
Well,
Yeah.
like, so my dissertation currently is on colorism and how colorism impacts African women and Afro-Caribbean women within the UK. So, like, I'm looking at how beauty and social media and other aspects impact Black women as a whole, and how, British culture sort of has impacted Black women in general. And I think, like, when I told a few people like what I was doing that didn't study geography, they were like, "Oh, how is that geography? Like, what does that have to do with it?" Because they think that you're supposed to do some type of environmental dissertation or some type of, like, I don't know. But from a non-geographer's perspective, I think, like, um, if I was to tell somebody why I'm doing colorism, I would say in depth, like, colorism focuses on people, and human geography focuses on people, and as well as spatiality and analytics and all of that stuff. So when I'm looking at colorism, I'm looking at the articles, I'm looking at the data that comes with it and the physical experiences of people. That's why I've chosen this, and that is why it's sort of like a geographical dissertation if I was to tell it to somebody who doesn't study geography.
No, definitely. I mean, I think yours is actually a good example in because when maybe GCSE and A level students think about geography, they're not going to think about race relations or impacts
Mhm.
on how different impacts on different ethnic and excuse me, black Asian minority ethnics, that sort of stuff. So
Mhm.
yeah, I think that's a good example of how geography is more than just geography, if that makes sense.
Now
Yeah.
you see, listeners, right? No, now you hear, listeners, right? You heard about Alex Antonian's dissertations. Very beautiful, very critical, very analytical, fantastic. Now, if I tell you mine, right, mine has something to do with geography. Now, the thing is, to understand geography, I'm just going to let you know what I define as geography, what myself defines as geography. For me, geography is the study between people and their relationship with environments. That's a simple Google search. You can literally search that up, and it's one of the most defined like definitions of geography. All right. Now, my dissertation title is investigating the female representation in episodic choices matter. Video games. That's right, video games from 2010 to 2019. Video games. Now, someone might say, John, what the hell, man? What's wrong with you? These two have done serious things, knife crime, race relations. You did video games. What's wrong with you? Listen, the way we represent people in media is a representation of how we treat them IRL. We don't like to admit it, but that is a common way, a common thing. The way we portray people on TV, on Netflix, is a way that they are reflected in real life. That is exactly the same as race relations and geopolitics, just in a more different medium, whatever.
Mhm.
Um, this is why Alex's point is valid because geography is much more to do than human and physical. To confine them into those two boxes. When I was young, I thought that was suitable, but as a geography graduate, I think it's unacceptable. I understand why they do it because there's no way in GCSE that you can like teach regional geographies, in feminist geographies, all the geographies in 1 year. But listeners, please take an honest look into geography, and you'll find out that there's so much more than just physical and human, like video
Yeah,
games.
John, I think you discredit yourself more than you need to. I mean, your dissertation is a really good dissertation. That's
It's
the
not.
representation.
It's
Yeah,
not too bad. I got a 2-1 on it. It won't be
but
published by our university, but
Wait
no,
a
but
minute,
that's
can I ask you a question?
go ahead.
Like out of 100, it's out of 100, like on the canvas, right? Like,
Yeah.
um,
Don't say the university name. That we're not sponsored by them.
okay, so it's out of 100. So like, what is the number? If I was to get like, say for example, 70, what is that as the actual grade?
It's a first. It'll be an A minus, right?
or just the first because they
Because
wouldn't.
it's
They don't.
worth 85% of the final.
Yeah, it's a first, and you'd get it published in the un, university archives. It will be forever published on the university archives.
Oh, wait, actually, no,
Yeah.
that's a good point. Actually, I think I know what you're trying to ask now, Tony. And so for mine, because you did say it's 85% of the total grade, because 15% of
Yeah.
that's the presentation. So
Yeah.
for my
Yeah.
presentation, I got a significantly lower grade. So I got a first for the whole dissertation module.
Mhm.
But for my dissertation, I got a 71, and I think that extra 1 point was just to push that grade to the 70 mark. Because if I would just got a 70, that would have been a 2-1. So
You,
Mhm.
I think
lucky.
exactly. So develop a good relationship with the person marking your dissertation, and hopefully they might do that for
Oh,
you.
I'm not gonna say her name, but she loves me.
I got
There you go.
I got a 69, and I got a 75 in the presentation, and I got a 65 in the actual
Wait,
dissertation.
what? Okay.
Wait, yeah, no, 50%,
Alex, you sound so
85%.
shocked.
That
It
doesn't make sense.
well,
though.
I don't mind. I don't. Overall, we all graduated with the same degree. I mean, I don't care, to be honest, because I was motivated for the dissertation, but then towards the
Hmm.
end, I just,
I mean, we was in a
I burnt out.
pandemic.
Yeah, that as well. That as well.
Fair
But
enough.
yeah.
Okay. Well, so yeah. So we were talking about. I guess then hopefully our listeners then have sort of grasped how hopefully massive geography is. But you guys though, so geography is massive. Do you think though there's sort of aspects of geography that we don't really explore? Does that make sense? So so for example, what I'm thinking about is like, for example, yeah, my dissertation was to do with communications geography. I've never heard of that before in my life until that moment. You guys probably have that before. So
Okay,
that sort of stuff. If that makes sense.
yeah, yeah. Well, that's gonna be inevitable for nearly every subject because,
Hmm.
especially one as deep as geography, there's no chance we're gonna be using every single type of geography every day. Um, I think something that is definitely growing is social geography and like feminist geographies. That's something that's grown over the past decade or so. Um, Things like, I don't know, regional geography. Regional geography is used every day. Um, I can't really think of one that isn't used though, to be honest. I can think of some that are like not used as much, but every geography is like important, very, very important, and can be used every single day. So no,
Okay.
I
Well,
do think all geographies are used nearly every day.
well,
Yeah.
actually, I've got a specific question for you, John. You're a human geographer like me. Do you
Hmm.
regret just specializing in human geography?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why.
I'm sorry.
Physical geography. Physical geography rarely changes, and when it does change, it's just an update in our knowledge. That's it.
Actually,
That's it. No.
actually,
Wait.
let me tell you.
Go on. You go.
Um,
Go.
I don't know because I've been doing a lot of revision now to prepare myself for teaching in geography, and I've just learned something or something that's quite massively changed. I don't know how they taught plate tectonics to you guys during
Okay.
GCSE,
Go
but
ahead.
for me, they taught it as just simply massively to do with convection currents.
Yeah, but
However,
that's because that's the theory. The theory
ah
was it was the theory of why plates move was convection currents moving the magma, thus moving
ah,
the earth and so on. That was a
let-
theory. It wasn't confirmed to be true because
what?
there's no chance that we can go into
No, no,
the
no, no, but
go ahead, go ahead.
no, that's what I'm about to say. You said that physical geography doesn't necessarily change, but actually, the teaching has changed now. They're no longer saying it's just convection currents. They're
Yeah, okay.
saying that it's to do with the lithospheric plates being pulled down by the changes of temperature in the subduction zone, as well
Oh,
as
they taught
being
us that.
pushed by the
They
actual weight of the plate itself is pushing it down into the mantle as well. Those are
they
the biggest parts, apart from the convection current.
they taught us that as well. Me and
Did
Ashley
they?
went to the same school, and
Okay.
we're only years. Oh fucking no! I said the name again. Okay, me and Tony Ann went to the same school, and we're only years apart, and they taught us that. But the thing is, when I didn't say that physical geography rarely changes. Now the teaching does change, but that's normal. Teaching has to change with times because new technologies, more efficient methods of teaching, blah 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 blah. But the theory largely stays the same. It's like biology. Although biology changes all the time, but physical geography is changes like at a slower rate. So imagine like before Darwin, uh, we thought that um, humanity was a god creation, or it was just random, or it was Lamarck's. I'm not entirely sure which came first. And then when Darwin came, we everyone ridiculed Darwin and said, no, there's no chance. Then 50 years after Darwin, people started to recognize Darwin's theory. It's still a theory, by the way. It's not proven right, but that's what essentially physical geography is like to me, but at an extremely slower rate. Like, for example, with plate tectonics, um, I can recall a few notable events where plate tectonic like learning has changed. But the most significant change is when um, I forgot his bloody name. Um, this guy looked at a map and he was like, Africa fits the east the eastern part of no sorry the western part of Africa fits snugly into South America, and this is the most significant like plate tectonic theory that I think is anyway the most significant event. And he starts talking about continental drift and finding the same types of rocks in like kilometers apart. So that's where his theory came up from. Ladies and gentlemen, that was a long time ago, and we haven't even changed the way we think. We still believe in continental drift. So do I
Not a
that
lot of people, not those flat earthers. I'm not gonna lie.
yeah. Okay, fine. And
Sorry.
and that's why I don't regret specializing in human geography, because human geography changes at a much faster pace. At a much faster pace. We got to understand, human geography wasn't a subject 70 years ago, if I'm correct. It wasn't a subject 70 years ago. We learned this in university. Introduction to Human Geography, Module 1. Human geography was not a subject 70 years ago. And it wasn't a subject 20 years later. Now, 50 years ago is when human geography geography, the field geography had a paradigm shift and split into several branches that we now know as human geography. That's interesting. Sorry if I'm shouting. That's interesting. Physical geography rarely changes. I'm not dissing it. Physical geography is amazing. It's very interesting, but it rarely changes. This rock will be the same rock as long as there are no erosion processes. This rock will be the same rock 100 years from now, but this person will not be the same person 100 years from now. You see? Do you catch my drift? Sorry if I
Yeah.
took up a lot of time, but that's me anyway.
Oh, I understand that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's me.
Well.
Tony, do you have anything?
Oh, my opinion on physical geography.
Do you regret just doing? Wait, did you do just human geography?
No, she did
I
physical
no,
geography.
I did both. I did physical geography for first year and second year, and then I changed second year to do human geography. My reasons for that being like I just don't have the mental capacity for physical geography. Like, for me, like I think it's the way that was taught to me. So GCSE and A level physical geography was so simple, if you know what I mean. Like it was just like this does this and this does this and this does that. Now you go to uni, physical geography becomes more scientific, more mathematical. It becomes physics, chemistry,
Chemistry,
and all
biology.
of those things together. And like I wasn't good at any of them. So imagine doing that in A level, in university. Like it was very difficult for me personally. Like I like it. I understand why people do it because it's a very interesting topic when you understand it. For me, like I could never just like click with it like that. So I guess that's my reason for not regretting changing it, because and also I have my own not personal but yeah, personal reasons as to why I don't like it. But yeah, it's just I understand why people like it, but for me, it wasn't for me. So human geography related to me more than physical geography. So that's why I had to make a switch. I should have switched earlier, but we move.
We move.
Okay. Yeah, I switched as well. To be honest with you, first year I was doing geography, BSc geography. Then I switched to BA human geography for the same reasons as you've just cited. Okay. Well, I want to take a step back now, guys. Thinking about, I'm sure our listeners as well. Everyone here has TikTok, right? Um, I don't know if you guys have seen a few months ago. There's this idea that maps are racist. So, guys, are maps racist?
Oh, I've seen.
I haven't seen this, so this will be an
Oh, you
interesting talk.
Well, Tony-Ann, then if you've seen it, I don't know if you're entirely aware of what they were trying to say.
I mean, not like
yeah.
not the racist aspect, but like, you know how Americans think that they're the only country like in the world, so they only show the American map majority of the time during the education system. I think that's the only thing I see. Not the racism part, but like where certain. So you know, with our education system, we show the whole globe. Like, this is Africa, this is Europe, and this is what.
To be fair, though, even in the English education system, what's at the center of the map at all times? The United Kingdom.
No, not really. Whenever I've seen a globe, I see everywhere. Like, America's literally just see America. Well, I'm not going to say.
Well, I think I know you're talking. No, I think John, actually, no. In Japan, the center of their map is Japan. In America, the center of their map, I think, is America.
I wouldn't find that racist. I just find that relative to what you're viewing. But I think the point, though, that, and I don't know if this is right, so maybe you can correct me, but what people are maybe finding racist is that Africa appears to be smaller than certain countries.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah.
The like it's called the Mercator projection. Making the map look, making certain parts of the map look bigger than others. We learned it in regional geographies. It's a Eurocentric projection of what a map should really be. Do I think that's racist? I don't really think that's racist. It's not discriminating against anyone. I mean, it is showing that certain land masses are smaller than others, which is just not true. Like, for example, I find it very comedic that Australia, when we know for a fact you can fit the entirety of Europe and then some, that Australia looks smaller than Europe, which is stupid. Or that Africa looks so small. Africa is not that small, guys. Listeners, Africa is massive. Okay, Africa is massive. I don't think it's racist. No, I don't think it's racist. No, I don't know where that conclusion may have come up.
Because the reason I brought that up is just because that idea, I saw it a lot of the times on TikTok, and it was getting quite a lot of views. I mean, a lot of people in the comments were of course, saying no, it's not racist. It's just the way the maps have been projected, and of course, different ways of projecting maps result in different land masses being projected differently. So yeah, I don't think maps are racist as well.
It's not racist, but it's not accurate. And in a world where we live, in a world where false information and this so-called fake news is very important, I feel like the Geographic Society across the world have some sort of duty to tell everyone, hey, that map, like, even if it's just in passing, that map is dated. It's false. America's not that big. Africa's much bigger. Russia's not that big. And so on. And so I just feel like I do that all the time. In passing, I don't do it to, like, gloat or boast. I just say that that map is incorrect. But it's not big of a deal, really. It's not that big of a deal. What I do get pissed off, though, is that there isn't a lot of map knowledge.
Especially Americans.
Especially Americans.
Wow, we're doing this.
Yeah, no, let's do this, because come on. We've all seen the memes. When they're like, can you name 5 countries that aren't the US? And they
Africa,
can't do it.
Europe.
They can't do it. Yo, what is up with that? I mean, why? Why? It's not that hard to memorize a map. I mean, to be fair, US geography is very important to them. But still, the world geography is important to them as well. I mean, they colonize half of the world. Well,
wow.
Let's be politically correct. They don't colonize half of the world. They organize peacekeeping interventions around the world.
They discover.
They discover.
That's a good one.
They discover things that were there before, but yeah. No. Honestly, map ignorance is something that needs to be checked for sure. For sure. I mean, I have some funny memories about map ignorance. I remember in year 8, this one girl said, "Is China in Africa?"
Oh
Uh,
dear.
and I always thought that was hilarious because I mean, come on, man. That's like if you said, "Is Burundi in
Well,
Asia?"
actually, China is in Africa everywhere now, aren't they? Really?
Yes, but that's not what she. That's clearly not
Yeah.
what she meant.
Well,
That's
yeah, I know.
that's clearly not what she meant. But yeah, map. Let's call it map literacy. I think that's something that people need to know. Yeah, we're not expecting you to know all the map because it's you got to be real special to know all the map. Like you're either that guy or that girl or that trans person that's in the parties and they're like, I can name the entire map. I can do Yakov's world off by heart. But
You have
I,
no life.
at least know where the important places are. Korea is not just Korea; it's North and South. Africa is not just Africa; it's very rich. South America is not just cocaine; it's more than that. So get literate with the map. That's me, anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I like how we just bashed Americans here, but
Always got to
uh,
find a way.
well, yeah. But actually, another thing as well from TikTok is that Americans have popularized the game GeoGuessr. Though I don't know if you guys have played that.
That wasn't made popular by them. That was
Was
made
it not?
popular by Unite.
I'm pretty
Unite.
sure.
That was made
Okay.
popular by troublemakers in ICT classes not wanting to do their
Oh, okay,
work,
maybe I
so they go
misunderstood.
on GeoGuessr and play the game. Yeah, I've played that game. Have you played that game, Tonya?
No.
So
Well, if
fun.
I did, I probably don't remember.
It's so fun. You just go on GeoGuessr. They show you a random place on the world, and you have to determine where it is on the map
Oh, okay.
using what you see. Sometimes it's easy because like you see the pyramid, for example.
Well, I think
Sometimes
I did that in GIS when I was supposed to be doing my work.
Okay.
GIS, love that, but
Oh,
it's a
I
shame
missed
we didn't
that.
get to do much.
Yep, I really wish we had the opportunity to do that in third year.
For the listeners, GIS is making maps. Yeah,
What
Using
does GIS
computers,
stand
okay,
for?
not
using computers. Yeah.
GIS, Geographic Information System.
Yeah, it's
There we
very,
go.
very, very interesting stuff. Go check it out. I fell asleep in those classes personally. I never turned up to first year classes for GIS. I always thought they were so boring. But then, as years passed by, they were really interesting. Anyway, we digress. Carry on, Alex.
Yeah, yeah. So I think my point about bringing up GeoGuessr and racist maps from TikTok is this is how geography. These are examples of how geography has been portrayed or popularized in the media as being solely to do with maps. Again, that dreaded that dreaded stereotype that geography is only to do with maps.
Yeah.
I was wondering, how can we challenge this misconception? Or can we? Is that even possible? Would geography always just be seen as that subject to do with maps?
I think we need to promote more, not promote more, but like, I think it starts from like the beginning of education, like when you're in primary school, when you're in high school, etc., etc. I don't think like when I look back at my experience in both primary and secondary school, it was just like I just don't feel as if like we went in depth about
No,
anything.
I
I
agree.
feel as if it was just like simple. I know it has to be simple because who's gonna learn about like the social cultural aspects of this area and stuff like that, or the microbial effects of certain soils within an area. You know what I mean? I feel like that's just too much information for some kids, but I feel like the system within the education has to sort of change now. I don't think the next generation should be still learning about, the same things that we did. I mean, yeah, you have to learn about the little topics here and there, but like learn a bit something different because geography is actually so exciting. But because we do the same things year by year by year, because it's simpler for the education system to do that, but it literally creates this narrative that like geography is so boring because oh the person above me did the same thing as me, and the person below me that's going to be in the next year as me is going to do the exact same thing. So it just like creates this repetitive pattern that geography is just about countries, as you said. Like everybody has this misconception is because that's all we've learned about geography. So that's why everybody thinks that geography is just about learning about maps, because that's what's been passed down through all these years. And I'm sure if I was to ask my mum, for example, she'd say the exact same thing. So it just shows that the education system hasn't changed in regards to that. So I think it starts from that point. But I don't think they want to. But as the post that you've made about the woman that was commenting on YouTube about how geography like is implemented in environmental and sustainability approaches and stuff like that, where it's going to be used for future, I really think that it needs to be more focused on now, because it's in the background at the moment with all the other things that are not seen as good subjects, you know. So I think now it needs to be a bit brought up more, because now I think in my university they're not taking in any more new geography students, I believe, or physical. They're just doing geography. They're not splitting it up between physical and human
Bro,
geography.
really?
Yeah.
No way. Oh,
Okay.
that is diabolical, man. That's diabolical. No, I mean, I bashed physical. No, I didn't really bash it. I just said it doesn't change. But you know, it's important to learn both, but and the subcategories. Me, I have no problem with people getting into geography because they like maps and they like countries. I have no problem with that. I just don't want them to stop at that.
Okay.
See, the beautiful thing about geography is that geography doesn't just stop at it doesn't just stop at the country or the region. Um, if you zoom in on a map, you can see regions defined. You can see boroughs like in the UK, or you can see states. What's the counties, etc. And there's a like intimate geography in all of those, um, in all of those subcategories. I would definitely follow Tony Ann's approach into how we should change geography. I haven't lived here for my entire life, neither has my parents, so I can't really speak to what they studied when we were children. But uh, clearly, geography has been taught the same way for quite a while. Um, and the my sources of that is in university, one of our assignments was recycled for 7 years straight. 7 years straight. Now that's just one assignment. Imagine if it was the entire topic. I think geography needs to be more contemporary. It needs to be more relevant. Look at for example, the other week, Mount Etna erupted. If you taught volcanoes in schools, using contemporary examples would be great. And then that they already do that, but I think they should use more contemporary examples, like river flooding, Boscastle 2000 and what one. That has nothing to do with me. Let me know about something
The
that is
what?
more like for river flooding and
What,
river
what was your
management.
case study?
Boscastle.
Oh, I've never heard of that.
Well,
Oh, I
2000.
remember Boss Castle.
Do you remember that, Tony? And
Yeah.
2001 or
Okay.
2003. It's so irrelevant. It's so irrelevant. And that type of stuff. If you're a child in class and you're just sitting there, and it doesn't matter how passionate the teacher is, they'll be like, Today we're going to be looking at an example called Boscastle, and Boscastle happened in 2003." I don't give a crap anymore. Now I was so interested when they did Hurricane Katrina, because that was at the time very contemporary, very very contemporary.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want people to be more like excited to learn geography, you got to use contemporary examples. That's the first thing. Second thing is you got to make it like fun. You got to make it fun, again, this goes back to Tony Ann's point about how you teach it. Like, okay, this is not geography, this is history. The way I was taught the slave trade is empathetic teaching. Now, instead of making us read from books, our history teacher made us put tables together and made all the girls and all the boys lie on the tables as close to each other as possible to simulate cramped conditions on a ship. And that way we got to empathetically learn about the slave trade and the conditions inside the book. If geography was taught in a way that it's not just PowerPoints and reading and textbooks, that'd be awesome.
Mm.
Okay. I actually just want to say a couple of things what you said though. You said case studies. What do you call case studies? Make it contemporary. Yeah, so you said make it contemporary. I think I still think it's important to look at or keep people in the future aware of things that happened in the past. For example, the Boxing Day tsunami or Boxing Day earthquake and tsunami. I think you guys have also studied that.
We have
Maybe?
Yeah.
the Indian
Yeah.
Ocean boxing one.
Yeah. I think that should be continued to be talked about. For
That's
example.
contemporary though. That's contemporary.
Okay. But at what point would that sort of stop being contemporary? You know what I mean?
When another
I
tsunami hits another location, you know what I mean?
okay. Right. Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah.
I mean, I think yeah.
I mean, sorry. Take a look at this, for example. GCSE AQA Geography, CGP, complete revision and practice. Pretty sure you have it with you as well there.
Yep,
Because
right in
we're
front of me.
studying. If I just point you to module, actually I can't find the module. Here we
Give
go.
me the page number.
Weather hazards unit 1A. Is it unit 1A? Anyway, it doesn't matter. Look at this. Tropical storms. Okay. The example given is Typhoon Haiyan.
No.
Haiyan. Okay. That's contemporary as fuck, man. That's recent. That is very, very recent.
Philippines. Yeah.
Yeah, but that has nothing to do with that. Just because
We're
I'm
both
Filipino,
Filipino, by the way, guys.
that has nothing to do with it. But the fact that it's taught, so
Okay.
recent, that's what for me. That's what makes it exciting. If a teacher said we're going to look at the eruption that happened a week ago, I'm like, calm, let's do it. Now I understand there isn't as much information. There's not as much information on responses and the effects because that takes time. That takes time to foster. Fine, I get that. We can't do fresh, but we can speculate fresh, but we can't really do fresh examples. But keeping it contemporary is something important. I think that's something that history personally falls prey to, because history is the past, and students easily fall into the argument, well, that has nothing to do with me, that was like 1,000 years ago. But whereas geography, it's harder to do that, because if a student were to say, oh, that was 50 years ago, that has nothing to do with me, wrong, that does have something to do with you, but I understand that was 50 years ago before you were born. That's why keep it contemporary. If you want more people to study geography, keep it contemporary with examples of the past, but with a main focus on how it can be improved and so on. That's just me.
Yeah, no, definitely. But I'm really glad that you brought up this textbook, actually, the CGP textbook and case studies as a whole. I personally didn't like the way. I mean, I can't speak for you guys, but I personally didn't like the way case studies were taught to me. I mean, for example, looking at this textbook, it just lists out all the effects of a Typhoon Haiyan, and all the responses. You know, it doesn't tell me a story of what actually unraveled. Was it the same for you guys, or did they just sort of say these are a bunch of look at these textbooks, these are a bunch of impacts, responses, just memorize them, but you're not making sense of how they fit with each other.
So it's about our GCSE journey, basically.
Yeah, I don't know. Did you guys like the way that was taught to you? Because it was, for me, I'd have preferred it was more story-like rather than just here's a bunch of facts, memorize them.
Like both of my geography teachers were quite passionate about their topics, so they kind of made it quite fun to learn about these case studies, made you sit in groups, have a conversation about it, and really like talk about what exactly happened. But looking back at my experience within that setting, I think I don't know, like, you can't really tell somebody how to teach, if you know what I mean. Like the person that is teaching you is either going to be passionate about what they're talking about, or not going to be passionate about what they're talking about, just there for the job.
Facts.
Or they're like they know how to teach in a way where like they understand how a student is going to receive the type of information that they're going to get. As you said, Alex, you wanted teaching to be more of a story, like, because that's how you like to retain information. But like you have some teachers that literally just be like, this is this and this is that and that, da, 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 da. So you don't really get the full. So that's why a lot of students don't really care about what's going on, especially with like if it's in the past. And the way that they're teaching it now, it's just like, okay, this is what happened. So what? This is what I have to listen to pass my exam, and that's about it.
Okay.
So I guess for me, like, yeah, as I said, like I don't have a problem with how my teachers taught it because it is what they had to do. But in general, I think, for future reference, as you said, like contemporary. I mean, you can't talk about contemporary stuff without talking about the past. Like, you can't speak, you know what I mean? Like, so those two things do have to be intertwined. So I think it's more emphasis on how teachers teach and what they can teach kids, because they it's not as if the teacher themselves can be like, yeah, I'm going to teach this today. They have to abide by certain things and structures. So I can't 100% put it on the teachers. It's the system as a whole.
Okay. I think as a prospect PGCE student, I'm taking lots of notes from what you just said.
Yeah, me as well, man. 100%. Either you're passionate or you're just there for the job. Was I happy learning the way case studies were learned? I suppose I was. I suppose I was. I mean, I shared the same experience as Tony Ann did. We were split into groups. We did various activities to learn about case studies. But I totally understand where you're coming from, and I know exactly why. Because Alex, my friend, you are spoiled from university.
What?
No. It's literally it's because the way we're taught in GCSE and A level, it's like we have our handheld. We have our handheld through it all. We're not allowed to make mistakes. This happened. This was the effect. This is how they were affected. Blah blah blah. We're not allowed to look at alternative views. Quite a lot of the case studies taught in GCSE are actually official statistics that were done after the fact. But when we went to university, um, I'm gonna take the most interesting one that I liked. Food security, for example. Now, when we were taught about food security, we were taught all sides of food security. We were taught the agricultural farmers, the transnational corporations, the seed makers. Basically, just not to go into just not to waffle. We were taught all sides, and that's something that I really like. The lecturers did not handhold us. We were free to say whatever we wanted as long as it was like relating to the point. Whereas in GCSE A level, not really. They hold your hand. It was this, and it was this or this. It was not that or something that you looked up on the internet. Um, but that's like, again, it all comes down to teaching. Um, and I feel like lecturers trusted us to look at all the information, look at all the sources, read as much as possible. But in GCSE, I would forgive teachers for not trusting students to read stuff. I would forgive them 100% because GCSE A level students are not going to go and read books about things that happen. There's no way. They're going
You
to
know
go
what?
Google and yeah, go ahead.
In regards to what you were just saying, like, yeah, they're not going to do it, but I feel like in terms of teaching them right now, especially with some of them wanting to go to uni or not wanting to go to uni at all, because some schools are like, yeah, if you're going to do this, this is the way. Because with our school, it was just like, okay, finish GCSE, go to A level, then go to uni. But if you're going to tell A level students that university is just like A level, then why don't you have A level be like
Be like uni.
university.
Yeah, 100%. 100% I agree with that, and that's what pissed me off the most because, um, why would they hammer that in so much, but then baby hold you
Yeah.
or teach you something extremely different? Um, that pissed me off a lot at uni because when I got to A level, sorry, when I at A level, and then when I got to uni and all the freedom I had, at first I was confused, but then I was happy, mad happy.
Mhm.
Well,
Yeah,
I
go
want to
ahead.
I want to put a suggestion on this because I was reading on the history of pedagogical geography. So pedagogy is the subject of learning how to teach. And I read something along the lines of how there's a massive disconnect between schools and universities because of course schools and colleges are subject to the national curriculum, whereas universities aren't. And this is sort of debate within geography about the role of sixth forms in colleges. You know, are they there to be training grounds to go to university, or are they there to carry on teaching geography as the national curriculum says? Because you know, different universities teach geography in different ways according to how those researchers or lecturers there view geography. So I think that's something to maybe recognize when talking about that.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
sure.
I suppose the question then is, what is high school and A level for, or high school and college, whichever route you went to. If high school, college, whatever is subject to national curriculum, but university isn't, what the hell is it there for? Is it there to teach us how to be good students, or is it there to teach us how to? Is it there to give us the foundation bricks of a subject we like, or like you said, is it just there to train us to go into uni? What is
Yeah.
it there for?
Yeah, it's a bit of a sticky one still.
I mean,
Um,
so like if I give you my thoughts,
mhm.
I recently did this paper for a PGCE course. I can't be bothered to get up the actual author, but the author said that school is like a food court. You know those American food courts that have like all types of choices, and it's the food court's job to offer as much variety as possible, so that the next time you go not to a food court, you know exactly what you want to eat. Okay, I kind of like made it into my own, but does that
Mhm.
make sense? So it's like a buff. School's like a buffet, and university is like the restaurant you want to eat at.
Or you have all these choices and you don't know what choice to pick, but university is a really one thing that you actually want to eat. Like when you ask your girlfriend, like, where do you want to go? But she already has that. She already knows she wants to go to K.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
You still there, Tony Ann? Okay, we're gonna give her some time to
I think
come
she
back.
left.
No,
Yeah.
she didn't leave, but I did hear the delay.
Okay.
No, yeah. I agree with what Tony Ann said, and that's pretty much what I believe like high school to be. The food court that offers all these choices, but it's not meant to teach you. It's not meant to be like university, and then university is meant to be a deep learning of what you wanted to choose,
Hmm.
or what
Okay.
you chose.
Okay. I just want to excuse me. I just want to backtrack a little bit. I mentioned the national curriculum, right? But actually, I completely forgot. Schools, or every single secondary school, must transition to become an academy by 2022, which basically means they no longer need to follow the national curriculum. So actually, schools
Oh,
will
wait,
begin to be in. Oh,
I'm back.
Tony
I'm
Ann,
back.
all right, fantastic.
Connection was doing madness.
That's okay.
no worries.
That's okay. Carry on, Alex.
Yes, I was telling you. I was just saying how every school, every secondary school, needs to transition to become an academy by 2022, which basically means they no longer have to follow the national curriculum. So it's up to the individual schools how they teach every single subject.
Okay.
That's
I don't.
that's gonna be.
That's worrying for me. That's worrying for me because some schools will inherently be stronger than others. If they don't
Yeah.
follow the national curriculum, some schools will be inherently stronger than others because they will have a skill set that others won't know. Um, and that's
But
what
isn't that not
standardized
good?
testing is for. Go ahead.
Isn't that sort of a good thing? Like different people have different knowledge from different things, so like we can incorporate that in a way, like because some of the people that are in my class, like they learned different things from geography that I never knew about. I didn't learn in school. So like it's sort of like a good and bad thing, because it gives disadvantages to people. However, like it also um brings about like a conversation to have with
I would
people. Yeah.
I would say for the majority of optional subjects, optional being anything that isn't maths and science. I don't
Mhm.
care about English, so English can go to hell. Um, as long as maths and science are regulated, because everyone needs to learn the same maths and the same science to up to a certain degree. Everyone
Okay.
needs to learn the same maths and science. I would then agree with you, Tony Ann, and say not everyone needs to learn the same geography. Not everyone needs to learn the same history. Because it's the fact that we are lacking qualities that makes us fun to learn. Fun to
Mhm.
learn in a lecture. Like I remember being punked in a lecture because I didn't know something, and then the next lecture afterwards, I ended up punking that person because what I thought to be something as basic knowledge, he didn't know. But then he probably thought the same thing the previous lecture. So yes, I would definitely agree with you, Tony Ann.
Okay, dokie. Okay. In that case, I'm just aware of time. I just want to explore one last issue. If you guys don't mind. That's staying on education. So a lot of people don't know this. I think geography has sort of seen a lot of well, it was seeing decreasing numbers of student uptake at GCSE and A level. So year after year, less people were taking it. But it's reversed in recent years. I just want to sort of get your guys' opinions on what do you think has changed, what's caused this increase, and how can we carry on this increase?
Um, I don't
Uh,
know.
So, so,
Just
so I was going to say. So, for example, I think it's just primarily to do with climate change's, dominance over the media. I think that's
oh,
maybe.
so you probably think geography is
I think it's
becoming
probably to do
more
with that.
relatable in
Yeah, I
today's
think
world,
so.
right? I mean,
It's trendy.
yeah, that's probably what I would say. It's trendy. I mean, how many GCSEs do children do now? I
I
know
had
that
10.
I had 11.
Okay.
Well, no, I had 13, but we dropped two because the school
What?
didn't want.
It's
Yeah, yeah.
mad.
No, the school dropped
13.
two. Yeah, the school dropped two because the averages were crap and they didn't want to be seen
Yeah.
for
Okay.
it. So, um, English AQA,
Hmm.
English language AQA. Our school dropped English language AQA
Wait, what?
because the mock AQA English language was horrible.
That doesn't make
Instead,
sense.
no. Instead, they opted to do the English IGCSE language
Oh,
paper.
wait, okay. IGCSE. Right.
Yeah.
Um, which was considerably better. So that's the 13th. They dropped IT because
Interesting.
IT everyone took the piss in IT.
But they
No
still
one took
kept
it
food
seriously.
tech. I don't understand that.
What do you mean?
Like people could take food tech for GCSE.
Oh, they kept food tech. Yeah. They kept food tech. They kept. Did they keep resistance as well? I'm not
I
entirely
don't
sure.
know, but I'm just like, what are you gonna do for GCSE for
Resistance.
food tech? Yeah, like cutting up wood and that.
Wood
Oh,
resistance. Yeah.
tech. Okay, right. Different names.
No. See, our school diversified. They didn't just have tech.
All right.
They had fashion textiles, graphic design, food technologies, and what was the last one? Wood
Wood
resistance.
tech. Wood
Well, I
tech.
clearly went to a deprived school.
um, no, I mean, what other like what other answer is that it's just trendy,
Okay.
or objectively, it's a very easy GCSE to do.
Or
Oh, sorry,
maybe
subjectively, or
or
maybe.
maybe
Okay.
this just like as we've had this conversation, like the doors have been opened to sort of like to look at different perspectives as to what geography actually is. And people are actually
Fair
taking
enough.
the time to recognize that geography is not just about all the things that we've mentioned today about looking at maps and looking at this and that. Is actually a much deeper meaning. And um like for me, geography, like when I explain to people why I study geography, I don't think I noticed this until like now in my final year of uni. Like I studied geography because I like to look at the changes of human beings and how we impact everything that we do within this living world, and
Mm.
how like past experiences have impacted us and how we can change things for the future. Like, it's not just about like, okay, this place is gonna flood, what we're gonna do about it, how do floods work? No, like stuff like housing, stuff like poverty, stuff like political changes with that's going on right now, COVID for example. That is all geography. That is all that's going on right now at our front door, and it's constantly changing. So I think people, for the listeners out there, like that's what we need to start to realize, that geography is not just about the simple linear things. It's about an objective amount of knowledge that, you know, sometimes you've got to take the time out to really look and see. But you know, I hopefully like in future the thought process changes. As you said, like more and more people are now taking geography as a subject, so hopefully that becomes more, because it's not just it's not just one thing, it's a multitude of factors.
No, I 100% agree. I couldn't have said it in a much better way. That's a very, very, very beautiful way
Yeah,
of saying
yeah, it
it.
was definitely.
Honestly,
Oh.
I mean, now what I'm gonna say now is gonna sound silly, but when someone like close to me says, "All right, tell me what you like about geography," I this is the funniest thing I always like to say is, there's a reason why you don't eat Burger King and you eat McDonald's. And they often say, well, it's because McDonald's is everywhere. And then I say, well, okay, but why isn't Burger King everywhere? Where do you see Burger King most often? And I'm not gonna slate Burger King because I like Burger King, but you typically only tend to find Burger King in either train stations or very, very, very derelict areas in the UK. I've, for example, is there still a Burger King in Wimbledon? I don't think so, right? It's gone now.
Yeah, there is. It's still
Is
there.
it still there? Oh, it's still
I
there.
think
Okay,
so.
cool. Um, is there a Burger King in Sutton? There were two Burger Kings in Sutton at one point.
Yeah, it's
There
gone.
was. They're both gone. Both
Yeah.
gone. Another one. Why is it that you see a lot of chicken shops and a lot of curry shops and a decline in just plain fish and chip shops? Why do you see loads of kebab shops everywhere? Culture. Uh, Generational drift into the country, more ethnic minorities taking up derelict areas and building them to resemble somewhat of a home that they have back in their own native country land. And along with that, culture grows, and just trivial things that you don't really think are geography, but they are geography.
Yeah.
I mean,
Sure.
what I'm saying is it sounds silly, but in comparison to Tony Ann, but like seriously, geography is way more than just what we typically thought it was.
Defo.
No,
So
you're definitely correct. Yeah, I think I'm sure over the next many weeks from now we'll be talking a lot about geographical issues, like you've sort of mentioned there. Anyway, yeah, I don't know if you guys have anything else you want to add before we
like
wrap this up.
a closing message for the future geographers,
Yeah, something like that. I
hopefully,
don't know.
to inspire geographers.
Take geography as your blood clot. Oh, sorry. No, for real though. Take geography as your option. Like, at least think about it. You know what I mean? Like, you know, you never know what you might discover about yourself, because with studying this, like, I've discovered so much about not just myself, but about everything that's going on around me. Like, I look at things completely differently now that, like, I've educated myself on certain things. Like, you know, in our last podcast, we was talking about identity. Like, I don't think I would have looked on that if I didn't study like social cultural geographies. Like, I don't think I would have dived into other people and how they thought and how they identify and stuff like that. I don't think it just opens up your mind. So I would definitely think about choosing it if you wanted to.
Yeah, very good.
I'm gonna push the button and I'm gonna say, take geography, ladies and gentlemen, and trans people, or whatever you identify as. Just take geography. Listen, I've got to say a few things. This whole time we've only talked about human geography. I mean, a large majority of this talk was about human geography. We haven't even begun to talk about physical geography. I'm not qualified to do that, so don't ask me to talk about
Neither am
physical.
I.
But if you go ask a physical geographer, I guarantee you they will have the same reaction that we had. They will be able to talk to you about geology, oil. Oh shit. You know what? One of the most interesting things about physical geography is how it can be used to spot natural resources. Listen, yeah, you could be living, whoever's listening to this right now, whether you're listening to it in London or you're listening to it in the deep mountains of Siberia. Geography, physical geography can be used to spot diamonds, gold. I mean, I guess this is geology, but it's a branch of geography, or it's a cousin of geography. Listen, geography is so interesting. If you don't like human, try physical. If you don't like physical, try human. If you don't like both, go screw yourself. No, I'm joking. No, just try it out. All we're asking is have an open mind. Geography isn't just maps. Then again, a lot of subjects aren't their stereotypes, but we feel that geography doesn't get the respect it deserves. Put some respect on its name. But yeah,
Okay.
that's my closing. That's my closing
Very.
message. We'll let Alex close officially.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think mine is going to be as passionate as John's, but I will leave our listeners with this quote that I came up with. Well, it's not really a quote, but it's just an idea. I think that geographers are the most informed electorate in the world.
Whoa!
So I'll just leave that with you.
That's a big statement. Hopefully, you come back.
I think that.
That's
No,
his
I
statement.
definitely, I really believe that. So guys, take geography.
Okay. Well,
Okay.
thank you very much for listening to our podcast X episode 3. We really thank you very much for listening. All our opinions are ours. Do not harass us about our opinions. You want to come on? Let us know. We can invite you to the next podcast where we will be talking about something I'm not entirely sure on because we haven't decided. Please like or dislike or share a comment on whatever platform you are viewing this on, and have a wonderful day, evening, afternoon, year, week, month, whenever you're listening to this. Take care. I'm John William.
I'm Alex.
Am I Tony-Ann?
And we'll see you next time. Okay, I'm just gonna end the thing now. We can let me just get rid of this.